Hi guys, just doing a video review on my most recent purchase, which is a brand new dash cam. This particular model, it would help if I held the box the right way around, is by a company called Z3G, and this is the Z3G dash camera model. So the main feature with this is that it has a GPS tracker. Previously, the dash cams that I've reviewed in the past, they don't have a GPS tracker. I've done the DD Pi review, and there was another model which was like a really basic £30 version that I reviewed, which was like my first step into getting a dash camera. So let me take you through what you get in the box, and then I'll take you through the features and functionality, and then we'll do a walkthrough on the actual camera itself as well. So with this particular model, what you're getting is, he opens up the box. So first things first, you get your car cigarette lighter charger, and that's got 2 ports, so you can charge your phone and then you can obviously power the dash cam with it. You also get some cable clips, so these are like the 3M backed ones, although they're not actually officially 3M backed ones, but they're like the sticky pad ones which allow you to tuck the cable in. You get the cable to actually plug it into your computer. It's the same one that powers it, just a lot shorter. And then you also get a trim removal tool, so this is quite handy. I got one of these, I think, with the DD Pi as well, and it's just nice if you're trying to go for a very neat installation. You can use this to tuck the cables in really nicely, so that's quite handy. And then finally, you get your actual power lead, and at the moment I've got this plugged into a power bank, so that it's powered up, but you can see it's nice and long. I think even if you were in a 4-door vehicle and your accessory light was at the back of the car, you'd probably be able to bring this all the way down to the front and have it on your windscreen, so no issues with the length of the cable, which is great. This is your mount, and like I said, this is the GPS version, so it's got the GPS tracker just there as well, and then this is the camera as well. So what I'll do is I'll take you through the camera and the actual mount itself, just because there's a little bits to it. And then the next step is we'll go through the functionality on the actual menu screen itself. So without further ado, this is your mount. Excuse me. So this is your mount. You've got your GPS tracker there, and then it's wired a little bit differently to a standard one. So my power lead that's coming in from the car, or in my case the power bank, is going into the GPS tracker. And then you can see from the bottom of the tracker there's another lead which comes out and it goes straight into the dash cam. So what I'll do is I'll unplug it for you, and then you can see the wiring set up, so it's a little bit easier. So there we go. So if I hold that like that, you can see power lead to GPS unit, and then GPS unit, and that's hardwired in, so you can't remove that, down to the actual dash cam. And then if I plug this back in, so on the actual mount itself, there you've got a little screw, which is really annoyingly blocked by the actual power cable to adjust the angle of the mount itself. And then the mount itself, it's not like a lever one. With this mount, it works by twisting, so you have to twist the actual, almost the GPS unit, which is attached to the back of the mount. So first thing, got to be careful with the actual mount, just in case you break it, you're kind of screwed because the GPS unit is attached to that. Second thing, the suction on it is pretty good, because it kind of, when you twist it, it pulls the actual sucker in, as opposed to some of the cheaper levery ones that you get, which kind of don't actually suck onto the windscreen very well. The other thing I noticed when mounting this is it has quite a large footprint. So this is essentially the top of, well, it is the top of the actual dash cam. So if you imagine, if that's at the top of your windscreen, it's got to run that far down and then all the way down to there. So normally with my dash cam, it's either tucked in, well, it is tucked in behind the actual rear view mirror, so you don't actually see it too much. With this, because it's got a suction on, it's either going to be that far down from the top of the windscreen, or actually you have this bit poking above onto the headline in a little bit, but it's still going to take up a much larger profile. It's a preference thing. Some people, they don't mind this hanging down. They kind of like having the screen on and just being able to see that it is constantly recording. I personally just like to see that the screen's switched on when I've started the car, and then I like it to be tucked away and hidden, just so that I know it's working, but it's not in my way and it's not going to be sort of obtrusive to my vision when I'm driving. Let's take you through the button functionality on the actual dash cam itself. So to power the device on, you've just got a power button there. You've got a menu button, you've got an up and a down button, and then you've got your OK button there. You've also got your microphone just on the front there, and then you've just got some vents here just to help keep the device cool, and then you've got some vents on the bottom as well. Overall, build quality is pretty good. It feels, nicely made. It doesn't feel like it's made out of super cheap plastic. In terms of key features, this records at full HD 2560 by 1440p at 30 frames per second. It's got a 150 degree wide angle lens. You've got a microphone. You've got GPS tracking. You've got a G sensor. And then the actual screen size on this is a 2.7 inch screen too. So let's take you through the menu. At the moment you can see, or you can just about make out that it says please insert memory card. So I've been using this for the last week, and then what I'm going to try and do is get some of the footage and upload it onto the or my YouTube channel as well, just so that you can view the footage. Always worthwhile bearing in mind, YouTube, they do downgrade the quality of the videos just so that it's easier to play. So if you're viewing it on YouTube, it might not look as good as it does in real life or in its raw format. So this is your menu button. You press that and you pull up the menu. Your resolutions I'll take you through. So like I said, you've got 2560 by 1440p at 30 frames per second. It would have been nice if you could get 60 frames per second, but it seems to be that a lot of the 60 frame per second dash cams at 1440p tend to be quite expensive. So hopefully in the next year or so, the price of those will start to come down. You can also record at 120 frames per second, but that's if you take the 1280 by 720p setting. And then the one in between, if you want to record at 60 frames per second, is 1920 by 1080p. So you'll record at a slightly higher frame rate. The next option down is loop recording. So you can choose 1 minute, 3 minute, or 5 minute. You've got a voice setup option, which I still don't know what it is. I've kind of left that off just because I don't know what it does. You've got exposure settings. You can put a stamp on it. So you can put a date stamp, time stamp, vehicle registration stamp, and then you can also put a logo on it for some reason. I don't know why you would want to put Z3G's logo on there, but you can if you want to. And then you've got auto power on and off. So I've got that turned off. So I want it to... I've got that turned on. So I want it to turn on automatically when the engine starts, and then I want it to turn off automatically when the car switches off. You can switch the LCD off. So if you're driving at night time, it can be a little bit annoying having the LCD turned on, and you can't actually adjust the brightness on this. So I've got it set up to turn off after 5 minutes. You've got your WDR setting, which is turned on, and I would always recommend you have this on just because it's going to enhance the image quality a little bit. You've got a frequency setting. You've got a format, so when you want to format the SD card, you can restore it back to default, and then you've got your version info settings as well. And then the other thing is your features list. So you've got a driver fatigue alarm. So every 4 hours, it reminds you to take a break, pull over, grab a cup of coffee, get a bit of fresh air, and then continue driving. If you don't have automatic lights and you're forgetful and you forget to turn off your lights, this will actually remind you to turn your lights off. So you've got a setting for that. It's got motion detection. So what it will do is it will start to record when it detects motion. I've got that set to... I've got that turned off just because what happens is if you're stationary and driving, if you're stationary and you're not driving, it won't actually start to record unless it detects motion. So for example, say you're waiting for someone and you get sideswiped, this won't record it because it's got motion detection turned off. So it will only record when you're moving. That's why I've got it turned off, just in the event you get sideswiped and you're stationary, you've got it on footage. Next one is parking monitoring. So you can have this so that it records while you're out of the car and the car switched off. In order to do that, you do have to have this power cable plugged into a feed which is constantly live. The other thing to bear in mind is if you don't drive your car every day and you've got this plugged into a live feed, this is obviously draining your car's battery, and it might end up actually completely draining it, and your car might not start. So if you're going to do that. There's a couple different ways of doing it. I think there's a kit out there which has its own sort of like secondary power bank essentially, and what it will do is it will run off the power bank, and then once that runs out, it will run off the car's battery. But you'd hope that actually you've used the car within that time to top up the battery, to top up the power bank as well. But I won't go into that on this video. There's lots of YouTube videos by lots of people who've gone into it in detail, so do check those out if you're interested. And then you've got your G sensor setting as well. So the G sensor setting, it will detect any motion. It will detect any impact, and then on impact, it will lock your video to stop it being overwritten. With it set on low, with most of the dash cams that I've tested, I've found that it always ends up like locking a video if you've gone over a speed bump too hard, or if you've like just slowed down really fast or something. So I've got it set to medium. You can have it set to high as well if you want to do that, or you can have it completely turned off. And then what else? GPS functionality. The GPS functionality is pretty good. So in the manual, they let you know of a software that you can use to download and view the GPS file back as well as the video, and it will show you where you were, what time, what day, and then it will also show you the speed you were traveling and then the direction of travel as well. So again, in the event of an accident, if you forget, what road you're on, what time it happened, where you were going, it will show you your whole route. And that's quite handy to have, just because if you're trying to submit a claim to your insurance company, you've got all of the details there. You can say, look, I was driving underneath the speed limit, or I was driving at the speed limit, I wasn't speeding. There's the actual footage, and then there's the map of the direction that I was traveling as well. So quite handy to have, and a great feature. And that's really about it. So in terms of ratings, I think for me it's a 4 out of 5. So the reason it's a 4 out of 5 is just because this isn't as compact as it could be. If you're paying £90, I'd like this to be, as compact as possible and not take up so much space. I have seen there's a few out there which have this GPS functionality. They are a little bit more, but they offer a slightly sleeker design. So for me personally, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. You might, not have that issue and you might not mind it, and therefore it's probably a 5 out of 5 for you. Video quality is fantastic, as you would expect at 1440p. The nighttime recording is really good too, so you can really make out number plates and you get a really clear idea of exactly what's going on. And what I'll try and do is I'll try and upload the video footage of it during the day and during the night onto my YouTube channel at a later date as well. So for me, guys, it's a 4 out of 5, and as always, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch my video. Until next time, guys.